Hello and welcome to Fourth Estate right here on ZTN Prime. We are broadcasting from our Herald House studios right here in Harare. This is the program where we tackle all things media and journalism right here in Zimbabwe. My name is Wadzanai Sansole. Now today we bring you highlights on the recently held Media and Information Strategic Validation Workshop, which focused on information literacy and strategic alignment. The Ministry of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, in collaboration with the Zimbabwe Media Commission, brought together key stakeholders to review, to validate, and also strengthen national strategies that are aimed at promoting informed citizenry and media professionalism, as well as responsible information dissemination in the digital age. In attendance was the Deputy Minister of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, Ombile Marupi, who underscored the importance of digital literacy in the wake of emerging technologies. Now, he also emphasized the need to ensure citizens have access to accurate and reliable information for effective participation and decision-making in national development.
That our government is collaborating with private sector partners to implement a powerful and impactful meal strategy. This partnership explicitly reflects the President's call for public-private partnership, which we are actively witnessing today. I'm grateful for convening this second consultation meeting, confident it will help us successfully tackle this significant task. Ladies and gentlemen, the media and information literacy strategy is fundamental to improving access to information, knowledge, freedom of expression, and quality education. It empowers us with the skills to understand how media functions in an ever-changing environment, critical access the accuracy of information, counteract misrepresentation, challenge extremist views, and make informed media choices. Moreover, this strategy will nurture essential skills in creativity and problem solving with technology-rich environments. With the rise of artificial intelligence, distinguishing between disinformation, misinformation, and accurate facts will become increasingly challenging. And our goal is to equip everyone with the ability to think critically and engage thoughtfully with the media and information they consume. Allow me to stress that accurate information is vital. It empowers individuals and communities, while misinformation or incomplete data waste resources and opportunities. Clear and timely communication can save lives and livelihoods. It is crucial that our citizens receive factual and precise updates to make informed decisions. Ladies and gentlemen, we all understand that access to reliable information is key to advocating for our rights, pursuing education, and participating fairly in the economy. Information must be delivered in all 16 recognized local languages, using culturally relevant examples and tailored to different literacy levels instead of adopting a one-size-fits-all approach. We must all recognize the importance of this upcoming strategy, engaging seriously in these consultations to develop the best possible outcomes. As government, media and citizens, we share the responsibility to promote open data, verify facts, and critically evaluate sources. In today's digital age, false information spreads rapidly, making it essential to strengthen fact-checking, media literacy programs, and timely corrective communication. We must also guard against information overload, ensuring the public receives and comprehends what truly matters. Colleagues, accurate information is central to our country's development. To achieve Vision 2030, we need reliable information promoted through the strategy we are collectively shaping today. When accurate information is readily available, our communities become more resilient, innovative, and just. Let us commit to fostering an environment where truth travels faster, than rumors, providing every Zimbabwean with the knowledge needed to thrive. In closing, ladies and gentlemen, it is essential to safeguard and educate our people on detecting inaccuracies, raise awareness about communication pitfalls, and deter the spread of falsehoods. As we engage in plenary sessions, interactive discussions, and thematic working groups, I wish you productive and insightful deliberations. I thank you. Siyabonga tinotenda realuwa kalomba nikoriwa ndana.
Now, at the same workshop, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, Nick Mangwana, spoke on the importance of information analysis and digital literacy as key tools in countering fake news as well as misinformation. He also highlighted that these efforts are essential for the country to realize its national development goals.
It is critically important for the populace to be aligned to Vision 2030. But the only way the populace can be aligned to Vision 2030 is when they get it. When they get that information, they have to consume it with a skeptical and analytical eye. That which separates the fake and the correct, the biased and the fair. That is very, very important because right now there is a competition out there to offload information onto the people. It's an avalanche, a proper whirlwind. So you need to be very, very incisive on what is this person trying to sell me, if they're selling anything. And you should be able to pick, this is a sales stock. Or are they trying to politically recruit you somewhere? Is it propagating an agenda, propaganda so to speak? Or this is quite just informative, flat information, no flavor. I'm just meant to consume this and come to a decision which helps me in the economic space or which helps me in the educational space or whatever space that is. Without that discerning eye, we will have a problem. We know that during COVID pandemic, we had something else that was called an infodemic. Infodemic was meaning it was a pandemic of information. So there was so much misinformation that was going on, it killed some people. There was some misinformation that was going on, disinformation, which maimed some because some never recovered. That was because there is this gap. There is this lack of knowledge or illiteracy specific to consuming information products. The workshop that we've just come from is one good example of how we are doing it. But like we presented in there, access to information is a key cog to defeating information illiteracy. So you would find that even as a Minister of Information, we continue to roll out community radio stations. And you know from the earlier presentation that the radio is the biggest communicator. It has got the biggest audience. It continues to rise. So therefore, we are making sure that every blade of grass in this country is covered by radio through community radio stations, and that we have broken it down to community level, to that granule stage where we start from there, everybody's informed, and then we go so that information is not an elite product. No, it's a grassroots product. So we are doing that. We are publishing papers in vernacular languages. This is meant for even that person who can't read English, because being learned doesn't mean you have to read English. They can read their language from their own tongue or mother tongue. That is our way of defeating that misinformation and also bringing literacy to the people.
Zimbabwe Media Commission Chairperson, Professor Ruby Makoshongwe, emphasized the importance of the strategy, describing it as pivotal to the Commission's quest to build a knowledgeable and well-informed society.
We just want to be in vogue, do that which is in fashion, but what is the cost to ourselves and our communities, to our individual selves, to our homes and families. So I want to thank you, everyone, for coming, for gracing this event, and for making this program as meaningful as it ought to be as we strive towards building a knowledgeable citizenry, a citizenry that can meaningfully contribute and participate in terms of media development,
Also presenting at the workshop, Zimpaper's Acting Chief Executive Officer, William Chikoto, highlighted the group's engagement with local schools to foster media literacy among young people. He also noted the need to bridge the rural-urban divide in access to information and digital resources.
So perhaps as we work on this policy, one thing to focus on is there is an urban and rural divide that is already there in terms of literacy, whether it's the legacy media or digital media, the gap is wide. And also within cities, there is a gap between the former Group A schools and the former Group B schools. When we went to Bulawayo, we had all the 18 schools in Bulawayo there, because this is a program that we work with the Ministry of Education. The former Group A schools, they came with high-end cameras. They have all the equipment that is needed, because they're already running programs that are successful. And the engagement was amazing. What we do is we bring all our editors to come and interact with the learners. And then we have question time. And we are amazed the kind of questions that they were asking. So this shows that we are behind in terms of coming up with a policy. They are already doing a lot of work on their own. They've already invested in the equipment that they need and already produced their own publications for sports and other things. So there's a high level of literacy in some of the schools. But when you then go to the rural schools, the issue is not literacy, it's just access to the information. Basic things like laptops and so on. So when you are running such a program, you also need then to say, how do you address that? And I'm glad that we have seen a number of government programs. Last week we were in Selu, where they were launching a digital center with laptops and so on. So that will address some of the things that we have seen. So the challenge when you go to some of these rural schools and high-density suburbs is just to say, how do they process the information that is coming to them? They are very gullible and vulnerable. Basic things like just to distinguish between facts and opinion, they are not able to do that. So everything that comes, they swallow hook, line, and sinker. So the work that we are doing today, I think, will go a long way to address some of the challenges that we are seeing. So yes, digital literacy training is lacking in most of the rural schools that we have been to, but we found it in urban schools. They're up there. The challenge then is to say, are they consuming information wisely, which my colleagues have addressed earlier on. So critical thinking and fact-checking is a problem, both in urban and rural areas, from the interactions that we have seen. So it's an area that we are saying we need to continue to address as we are running our program. But to do that, there's need for partnerships. I think Dr.
Now, at the same meeting, Media Institute of Southern Africa Regional Director Tabani Moyo underscored the importance of educating communities on matters of media literacy, emphasizing that informed and media literate citizens are better equipped to contribute meaningfully to national discourse.
That is where the skills are going to be domiciled. We want to make sure that our educational centers have got the capacity to produce an all-rounder citizen who is self-aware. Let's move to the next. Civil society organizations, the media, issues of accountability, checks and balances, keeping society on check, the knowledge economy. It all entails that we have to be self-aware through a media and information literacy policy as a stakeholder chain. Private sector, of course, the private sector is also a key player in this process because all this we are talking about, the digital shifts, is part of the private sector. They are having an audience, a consumer base, a productive base that can be profitable if it is aware and self-aware on the practices that they're engaged on. International development partners, key to set up indicators in terms of how the country is developing and also equally measuring their investment. Let's move to the next slide. The path forward. I think from my presentation, what I'm pushing through is that this strategy should reflect the interests of all stakeholders. It's supposed to glue and bind us together. In our diversity and our differences, we must unite on the need to build this critical thinking mass, this critical thinking citizen who can engage. I've always said that from my colleagues whom I engage with, when I was invited to speak, I said, yeah, of course I'm available. Why? Because I'm a citizen first of Zimbabwe. Secondly, I'm a citizen of SADC. I'm a citizen of Africa. In that pecking order, and no one can take that away from me. And no matter how much you differ with me, but on this one, I want a national policy that also reflects me as a unique person in this national divide. The PEMSEC is smiling. He knows our conversations. Then there's integration in education. For us to succeed, if it doesn't go to the education system, we can't catch them when they are old. We need to start from the base. The foundation of the framework is to go to the base and build upstream. So once we go to the base, that is integration with the education system, then the mass public campaigns.
The Regional Advisor for Communication and Information for the UNESCO Regional Office for Southern Africa, Al-Amin Yusuf, echoed similar sentiments, highlighting the need to equip communities with digital literacy skills to harness the opportunities presented by the digital age.
I think number one is to focus on the citizens, because if you equip the citizens to be media and information literate, it means you've given them not only the fish, let's think of someone who's requesting for fish, but you've given them the tools to fish. You have empowered them to be able to generate knowledge, to be able to acquire knowledge, to be able to have skills, to live into the current generation and future generation where access to information and knowledge is critical for development. Empowering community, it's a very broad term. But when you talk of hands-on, being pragmatic about empowering community, it means putting focus on the citizens, For instance, looking at our education programs, are they geared to strengthen the capacity of our citizens, right? But also in all our policies, we have to focus on citizens. The good thing is the policy documents and the policy framework and the strategy that we have been discussing. By the way, we have been privileged also to participate in the development of the national AI strategy for Zimbabwe. And the good thing is all of this really targeting the citizens and looking, focused on the citizens. So we have to be pragmatic about it, rather than just talking about it. For instance, how do we allocate our budgets, and also focusing on the vulnerable communities, especially those who live in the rural areas. When you talk of digital communication, for instance, if you look at internet access, it's citizens living in urban areas who are advantaged. And I can see, for example, when I talk of pragmatism, the current establishment of digital centers community radios, so that the citizens in rural areas can have access to information and knowledge. So when you talk of empowering the citizens, it's all about that.
We have come to the end of our program, Fourth Estate, and I'm Wadzanai Sansole. Pleasant viewing.